Time doesn't warn you. It doesn't tap you on the shoulder. It doesn't tell you when you're drifting, and it doesn't care about how much potential you think that you have. One day you're telling yourself, oh, I've got time. The next, years have gone by, and nothing looks how you thought it would. There's no countdown, no checkpoint, just days stacking on days, and you keep telling yourself soon. Nobody actually knows what they're doing. Not your friends, not the people you compare yourself to, not the people you think are ahead. Most of them are just guessing, trying shit, failing quietly, and adjusting as they go. The only difference is some of them just didn't stop when things got uncomfortable. That's it. Feeling behind isn't a fact, it's a reaction to watching outcomes while you're still stuck inside effort. A reaction to seeing results without seeing the years of confusion that came before them. You didn't miss a meeting, there was no secret, there was no special moment where it clicked for everybody else except for you. They stayed, you're still deciding. This part of life isn't dramatic, it's dull, repetitive, exhausting. It's waking up tired and doing the same things over and over and over again with no proof of it actually working. It's effort without feedback, it's carrying belief quietly so you don't look stupid if it fails. And that's the real test. Not motivation, not talent, but tolerance for uncertainty. Most people don't quit when something goes wrong. They quit when nothing happens. No wins, no losses, no signs that they're on the right path. Just silence. And that silence convinces them that it's pointless, so they stop. Nobody really talks about how angry this process can actually make you. Angry at yourself for not starting earlier, angry at the world for not being fair, angry at the people who give up but still seem fine. You either learn how to carry the anger and use it, or it rots you from the inside, and most people let it rot them. Growth doesn't feel like leveling up, it feels like losing shit. Comfort, distractions, relationships, old versions of yourself that were easier to be. You don't evolve, you shed. And here's the reality that nobody likes. You're either building something slowly, painfully, over time, or you're just sitting around wasting time, convincing yourself that you'll start later. There is no neutral position. Standing still isn't safe, it's decay. Nobody's coming. Not with answers, not with permission, not where a moment where everything just clicks. If you sit there waiting to feel ready, you're gonna age out of your own potential. And that's not me being dramatic, that's biology. The people who quote unquote made it weren't special. They were stubborn. They stayed while they felt confused. They kept moving while everything felt pointless. They looked stupid longer than everyone else was willing to. They didn't win because they were confident, they won because they just simply didn't leave. This isn't about believing in yourself, because belief fades, motivation lies. This is about refusing to let this be all your life is. Even when you're tired, even when you're unsure, even when that little voice in your head is saying, oh, this is going nowhere, especially then. You already lost time. Everyone has. The only thing that matters is whether you keep losing it. Because one day, quietly, you wake up and realize either you built something or you sat around building excuses. Nobody is coming, and if that scares you, good, it should. Because the moment that you stop waiting is the moment that your life actually starts moving. Not fast, not clean, not pretty, but forward. Most people don't ruin their lives in one big decision, they erode them. A little less discipline there, a little more tolerance for bullshit over here, a few little compromises they swear are temporary. Then one day they look up and realize the version of themselves that they respected has been gone for a while. Not dead, but just ignored. There's a quiet kind of self betrayal that feels harmless in the moment. Sleeping in when you said you wouldn't, avoiding the hard conversation, letting the day slip by because tomorrow will be better. And none of it feels dramatic or feels like a big deal, and that's why it works. You don't notice the damage until you try to rely on yourself and realize that you don't trust your own word anymore. Most people talk about burnout like it comes from doing too much, but most burnout comes from doing things that you simply don't respect. Jobs you don't believe in, routines that numb you, distractions that keep you from thinking too long. That kind of tired doesn't go away with rest, it goes away with honesty. A lot of people aren't addicted to pleasure, they're just addicted to escape. Noise, smoking, scrolling, drinking, background content to avoid the silence. Because silence forces you to confront the gap between who you are and who you know you could be. And that gap can be extremely uncomfortable, so you just choose to keep it filled. Comfort isn't neutral, it's corrosive. It dulls urgency, it softens standards, it makes average people feel acceptable. Not painful enough to leave, not good enough to feel proud of. That middle ground traps people for decades. And there's also grief in realizing that nobody's gonna understand your internal war. not friends, not family, not the people that think, oh, you're doing fine. You carry the pressure that they'll never see, expectations that you don't talk about, a version of your future that keeps you up at night, and you learn to carry it alone. And that weight either forges you or folds you. Most people don't fail because they aren't capable. They fail because they slowly lower their standards to match their behavior instead of raising their behavior to match their standards. And that's the moment the decline starts, when excuses start to feel reasonable, when effort feels optional, when self respect feels negotiable. Nobody tells you this, but dignity matters. Being able to look at yourself without flinching, knowing you didn't avoid the hard thing, knowing you didn't lie to yourself, knowing you didn't throw away your future for short term relief. And that matters more than motivation ever will. Somewhere along the way, you stop asking, can I do this? And start asking, can I live with myself if I don't do it? And that's when things actually start to change, not because it's inspirational, but because the alternative feels unbearable. Nobody's coming to pull you out of this, and the scariest part isn't that you're alone, it's that you're free. Free to waste years, free to settle quietly, free to become somebody that you can't even recognize anymore. Or not, because every day you wake up and you're voting for the type of person that you end up becoming. And eventually, the votes are final. This isn't about hope, it's about honesty. And whether you're willing to live with the consequences of the life that you're choosing when nobody's watching.